Investigating a case of this nature is very bizarre. I mean, there's no other cases like this that we can recall where somebody disappeared and never came back.
I had called all day, but no one answered. And she don't go anywhere without her phone. But then we found her car.
I knew something bad had happened. She would never leave her daughters.
Surveillance showed a man getting out of that car and walking away from the parking lot.
I don't think many people knew about the swinging.
That kind of shocked people.
Did some type of love triangle cause a serious conflict?
Or is there somebody out there preying on women?
We got to figure out what's going on, and we got to find her.
Did you kill her?
At People magazine, this story quickly got our attention. A tightly knit community suddenly loses one of their friendliest faces. A mother of two in suburbia, missing without a trace. It's a chilling story with countless people unwilling to rest until justice is delivered.
Riverside's a close-knit community located near the city of Dayton, Ohio. There's less than 30,000 citizens in our city. It's a very blue-collar community. A lot of the people in our city have grown up here. They've lived here their whole lives. So if you live here, you tend to know a lot of people. It's a great town to live in.
I'm Mary Carroll, and I'm Cheryl's mother. Cheryl's my youngest. She's got two brothers and an older sister. She was such a happy child, and that happiness stayed with her.
I'm Charity Leiter, and I'm a close personal friend of Cheryl's family. You could be in the worst mood. Cheryl would walk in the room, and she'd cheer you right up, just smiling at you. She was just very cheerful and very outgoing.
My name is Shelly Applehands. I am Cheryl's best friend. When I first met Cheryl, her daughter, Marissa, was 3 at the time. She had the cutest little hairstyles. Cheryl dressed her up so cute, and she was her world.
My name is Tina Wilson, and I'm one of Cheryl's best friends. Cheryl was an amazing mom, but, she was a single mom, for a while. After the first marriage ended, she didn't get child support. So all the bills, everything was all on her. But she would always make it work.
Eventually, Cheryl got a job on the line at General Motors, and through that job, she met Bill Coker.
Bill and Cheryl hit it off pretty fast. A lot of us were surprised because he's very quiet. Cheryl is so talkative, and she's just a very cheerful person, and he's nothing like that. So we were surprised, but he took care of her, and he really put so much effort into the relationship with her oldest daughter. So, of course, she fell for him.
In July of 1999, Bill and Cheryl get married, and he formally adopts Cheryl's daughter, Marissa. 4 years into their marriage, Bill and Cheryl have a child together, their daughter, Michaela.
Bill was a very good provider and good to the kids. He worked 2 jobs. Her kids were in everything. Gymnastics, they were in soccer. Cheryl enjoyed just being there, seeing her child, play. Of course, every once in a while we had to calm her down because she'd be yelling. But she was so much fun.
By 2018, Michaela is 15 and Cheryl's oldest daughter, Marissa, is grown with a daughter of her own.
Cheryl loved being a grandmother. That baby was so spoiled by her and Bill.
Around 7 a.m. on October the 2nd, 2018, Cheryl drops Michaela off at Stebbins High School.
Cheryl's normal routine, she takes her daughter to school, she comes back home, and then she'll go to work.
Cheryl always calls Michaela after school to make sure she gets home. But by 8 p.m., Cheryl's not home and she's not picking up her cell. Michaela, she's worried.
Michaela had started calling family members, starting with her sister. She told Marissa that she had tried to call their mother a couple times that night, and she never heard back. Marissa didn't know where Cheryl was, and so Michaela called her grandmother.
Michaela called me and says, Mom has not been home yet. And I said, well, did you say something to your dad? She said, he didn't know anything, nobody knew anything. After that, my other daughter rode around seeing if she could find Cheryl, but she couldn't find her. So she said, we need to call the police.
I'm Detective Travis Abney with the Riverside Police Department. Cheryl was reported missing by her sister Margie during early morning hours on Wednesday, October 3rd. Friends and family had tried to get a hold of Cheryl Coker. They had called her, they had text messaged her. Cheryl had not returned any phone calls or text messages. She had never done anything like this before, and we were told that she talked to her daughters constantly and that she talked to her mother every couple hours. That's when the red flags started going up.
Police put out a be on the lookout alert, also known as a BOLO alert, for Cheryl's Toyota Highlander.
Cheryl's oldest daughter put something on Facebook and said, if you've seen my mom, let me know. So I text Cheryl, where are you? Let me know that you're okay. So I didn't hear anything.
It's a long day of radio silence from Cheryl when her daughter suddenly gets the idea to use her phone as a way to track her.
Cheryl's daughter, Marissa, figured out her mom's password and has traced the phone to a parking lot of a Kroger's grocery store, less than a mile away from the Coker home.
At that point, we went over to the parking lot.
Cheryl doesn't go anywhere without her phone, so they're hoping to find her with it.
We found Cheryl's car. The door was locked. Her phone was in her car. I mean, she don't go anywhere without her phone.
They're looking all over this parking lot for Cheryl, but she's nowhere to be found.
Cheryl's sister and daughter and maybe some other family members at the car. They called Riverside Police Departments.
I was alerted by the family that her vehicle was found. There was a lot of personal items inside her SUV. We found her purse and her credit cards. That's not normal. No one is going to leave their ID, their money, their credit cards, their cell phone especially. They're not going to leave that behind.
This is all too suspicious.
It started becoming more and more bizarre to me at that point.
On October the 3rd, 2018, 36 hours after Cheryl Coker vanishes in Riverside, Ohio, her car is discovered in a nearby parking lot.
The sergeant showed up, an evidence technician showed up, and at that point we were just trying to figure out what was going on.
Then the detectives called Cheryl's husband, and he came from work, straight from work.
When Bill Coker arrived, I did have a chance to speak with him at the scene and asked him where he thought his wife was.
Bill says that until he was contacted by police, he didn't even know Cheryl was missing.
Bill Coker stated that the previous morning, Tuesday, October 2nd, Cheryl had asked him to jumpstart her vehicle, which she thought maybe had a dead battery. He tried to jumpstart her car. He was unsuccessful in doing that. He stated that at that time, Cheryl was in the shower. He let her know, hey, I couldn't get your car started, and she didn't make any type of reply back to him. He could just hear the shower going, and that was it. According to Bill, that morning, he never actually saw Cheryl.
Bill was talking to the detective. My granddaughter, Michaela, was so upset. I was trying to calm her down. I says, honey, things will be okay. She said, I'm so worried about Mom. She never does this. So I said, I know she don't.
A tow truck eventually comes and takes Cheryl's car to the crime lab for further analysis.
We weren't sure if we had a crime even at this point. There's a distinct possibility that maybe she did just leave on her own free will. There was no definitive gut feeling one way or the other. We were just trying to figure everything out.
The next morning, while police work on gathering surveillance footage from the area, detectives retrieve a report on Cheryl's cell phone and web activity, starting with the day she went missing.
On Tuesday, October 2nd, Cheryl's cell phone was pinging from the towers closest to her house, so it appears that she was home. She was on social media for about 5 minutes, from about 7:40 to 7:45. Several posts were made during that time, and then all social media activity stopped. There were no more text messages sent, no phone calls received. There was no communication with anybody at that point.
Within hours, police received surveillance video from one of the nearby businesses.
The first video that we got was from Clancy's Tavern, and we could see Cheryl's SUV entered a surveillance picture at 10:53 a.m.
The footage shows Cheryl's car pulling into the parking lot. Police officers want to know who is driving Cheryl's car.
Unfortunately, the problem with this particular video is there are motion sensors on the camera. Ironically, the video shows the vehicle pull into the parking lot, and soon after it's parked, due to lack of motion, the video stopped recording for close to a minute. And in that minute, the person who was driving that vehicle exited in the parking lot and was out of the view of the camera.
Detectives are disappointed, but hopeful the video coming in from other business in the shopping plaza will hold more clues.
Unfortunately, a lot of times it's difficult to get those videos right away. There has to be a specific person to access those videos with a code, and it can take a little time.
While they're waiting for the surveillance video, detectives are pounding the pavement, going door to door in Cheryl's neighborhood, looking for any leads they could muster.
I'm Frank Robinson, the chief of police in Riverside, Ohio. The neighbors were interviewed as to what, if anything, they saw that morning when Cheryl Coker went missing, but there was nothing that they saw out of the ordinary.
When investigators re-interview Cheryl's closest friends, they find out more and more about Bill and Cheryl's marriage.
A few years prior, around 2006, Cheryl has suspicions of Bill seeing somebody. And she ended up finding another phone in Bill's car. It was a phone to talk to his girlfriend. She was mad, she was heartbroken.
She's like, I'm divorcing you if you don't stop this. And he stopped it right away because he didn't want a divorce either. And she loved Bill. She wanted this marriage to work. They had a family.
Not long after that, once she stopped being angry, Bill and Cheryl decided to try an open marriage.
Cheryl's friends told us that Bill and Cheryl had, outside of traditional marriage, the word swingers was definitely used several times.
Cheryl confided in me about the rules that they had agreed on when they became swingers. She told me that she and Bill decided no feelings were to be involved, and if they were going to be with somebody else, the other one was to know about it ahead of time. And while they could have a physical relationship with another person, they weren't allowed to fall in love. Her family didn't know, her kids didn't know. They had a weekend to themselves. That's what they would do.
Cheryl thought it did help their marriage in the way where Bill was getting his desires met. And she was about making him happy.
Cheryl participated in these activities, and for Cheryl and Bill, this open marriage worked for some years.
But according to Cheryl's close friends, despite this lifestyle agreement between Cheryl and Bill, in April of 2018, Bill sparks up a relationship with a coworker named Aaron. Cheryl is not happy about this.
She knew he was falling for this coworker, and it hurt her really bad. They were never supposed to get feelings for somebody else, but he did. Right after that, she's like, I'm divorcing you if you don't stop this.
Well, then maybe 3 to 4 weeks prior to Cheryl going missing, Bill told Cheryl, let's not get a divorce. Let's work this out. I won't see Aaron anymore. And Cheryl believed him. And then she told me not even an hour after telling me that he was not going to see Aaron anymore, she found his Apple Watch. Bill has sent text to Aaron telling Aaron, I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together. When Cheryl saw that text, she was mad, she was heartbroken, and so she confronted Bill.
She told Bill, stop this or we're divorcing. He didn't want a divorce, but he wanted to be able to see his coworker too.
Bill was very adamant about not getting a divorce. Cheryl said, well, I'm not going to stay with you when you're with Aaron. And Bill told Cheryl, well, let me just pretend that I love you. So Cheryl said, I'm done with this marriage.
She knew the marriage was ending. 19 years of her life, and now this is happening.
Then, according to Cheryl's close friends, on September the 21st, 2018, Cheryl files for divorce, and Bill is served with the papers.
Cheryl called me and said she and Bill got in a heated argument. He got served the papers. They both left their house and stuff, and, you know, he's mad, and he tried to run her off the road.
I believe he did it because he knew that he couldn't stop Cheryl from filing for divorce. Cheryl did not contact the police. But I don't know why she didn't. I wish she would have.
Then after that, Bill goes on vacation with their daughter. He comes home, and the next day, she's gone.
After Cheryl goes missing, her friends tell police about the incident where Bill allegedly tried to run her off the road. Police ask where the incident took place and how fast they were going. Unfortunately, no one knows the details of what exactly happened, and police find no evidence to back up the claims. But then, on Thursday, October the 4th, the police are reviewing the latest collection of surveillance videos. Detectives scrub through to 10:53 a.m., the time when the camera from Clancy's Tavern captured Cheryl's car entering the car park. This time, the surveillance camera doesn't have a motion sensor starting and stopping it.
When we reviewed the footage that we obtained, we noticed a person appeared to be dressed in all black with their hood pulled up, walking away from Cheryl's SUV.
The whole thing is suspicious because while it was October 2nd, it was a very warm day. It was between 70 and 80 even at 11 in the morning. And they've got a black hoodie pulled up.
Based on the walk, and we've talked to members of her family, I think it's safe to say that it is not Cheryl Coker walking away from that vehicle.
In October of 2018, 3 days after Cheryl Coker vanishes, police get a hold of surveillance video of her car pulling into a parking lot of a grocery store. But Cheryl is still nowhere to be found.
The surveillance video showed someone getting out of that car and walking away from the parking lot.
The person appeared to be dressed in all black with their hood pulled up.
This seems initially like a great lead, but unfortunately the video is too low resolution to contain the detail they need.
The footage is kind of far away. But several people watched this video and suspect it was a man, not Cheryl Coker.
Police look for more videos of the individual and any witnesses that can help identify the person.
Fortunately, we discovered that there was a 911 call made by a concerned citizen at approximately 11:13 a.m. on the same day that Cheryl went missing.
Which car this time?
An elderly gentleman called to report a suspicious white male subject walking in the area.
There was a guy dressed in black with a black hoodie on.
The same neighborhood that Bill and Cheryl live in.
As he walked in front of me, he hid his face. I made a circle around the block. he was coming up, and he put both hands over his face.
We're starting to kind of put the pieces together here.
I believe he's up to something.
Not only does the description match that of the person leaving Cheryl's car, but the timeline too makes a compelling case that it's the same person.
The 911 call was received approximately 20 minutes after the person is seen walking away from the vehicle. That immediately caught our attention. The Kroger parking lot is approximately a half a mile away from the Coker residence. This was right down the road from Bill and Cheryl's house.
He was walking toward Spring Hill School.
The backyard of the Coker household backs up to the back of Spinning Hills Middle School.
We met with Spinning Hills Middle School officials. They were able to access their surveillance footage. We quickly saw a person wearing all black with his hood pulled up, walking in the direction of Bill and Cheryl's house. We narrowed down the time frame to be about the time that the elderly gentleman called 911. At the beginning of this investigation, I wasn't convinced one way or the other whether Cheryl hadn't left on her own free will. It wasn't until we started getting the video evidence, obtaining the 911 call, getting the additional video evidence from the school, connecting all the dots with all these pieces. It became pretty clear at that point that this person was headed towards the Coker residence, and the foul play was likely involved.
After conducting multiple interviews with Cheryl's family and friends, it's apparent that any enemies Cheryl might have will be hard to find if they exist at all. So detectives theorize about the role the Cokers and pending divorce could be playing in Cheryl's disappearance.
A marriage of 19 years, all of a sudden, divorce papers are served, and now this person is missing. We obviously had an abundance of questions for Bill Coker.
Bill isn't as accessible as the rest of the family. In fact, he's the only member of Cheryl's family who's not calling the cops wondering about Cheryl's whereabouts.
It is a red flag when somebody is not calling to get actively involved in an investigation like this. Whether they were going through a divorce or not, they have children together, they have a grandchild together.
One of Cheryl's co-workers comes forward, eager to help with the investigation. She wants to share some recent communications she had with Cheryl that she thinks might be important.
There were some text messages sent by Cheryl to her coworkers around the time that Bill was served his divorce papers.
Cheryl texted the group, "I think he got served today because I just got this text from him." And the text was, "Thanks for putting the nail in my coffin." Her friends respond by joking around a little bit about the text, but Cheryl's last message to the group read, "So I'll be in tomorrow if I'm not dead."
There's a lot of speculation. Was she joking or was she being serious? Well, the timing of that text message and then Cheryl disappears a short time later is concerning.
It's not evidence against Bill, but it's eerie to say the least.
After having very little communication with Bill, he agrees to come in for questioning from police.
I asked Bill Coker about his feelings when the divorce papers were first served and their living arrangements afterwards. From what I know from Bill about his issues with the divorce, he wasn't expecting to be served the divorce papers when he was. And he was blindsided by that. Afterwards, their sleeping arrangements were when he was at home, he would sleep in the master bedroom and she would sleep on the couch. I asked about October 2nd, the day of Cheryl's disappearance. Bill Coker's timeline, basically from Monday, October 1st, up until the time Cheryl was reported missing, Mr. Coker had been on vacation with his youngest daughter and his current girlfriend. They'd been out of state for a few days, and they arrived back to the area late Monday, October 1st. His girlfriend was dropped off at home, and then he and his daughter went back home.
Bill claims he had the day off and that he normally sleeps a lot to recover from his hectic work schedule. He says he only got up once and that he spoke to Cheryl through a closed door.
Bill Coker told us he tried to jumpstart Cheryl's car. He was unsuccessful in doing that. He stated that Cheryl was in the shower. He said that he let her know, "Hey, I couldn't get your car started. You may want to, get it towed." But she didn't even communicate back with him. He stated that he went back to bed and he got back up sometime between like 10 and 11 a.m. that day.
When Abney informs Bill that they have surveillance video from the middle school showing a man headed towards his backyard on the morning that Cheryl went missing, Bill claims to have no idea what they're talking about.
Bill is asked for a second time where he thinks his wife is, and once again he responds by citing the open marriage that he and his wife had.
He was coming up with scenarios as to where she could be based on the fact that she was seeing other people and things like that. It seems like he was trying to paint a picture that Cheryl either went off willingly with somebody or was taken unwillingly by somebody.
Police start trying to track down any potential lovers Cheryl might have had, but they still have their sights set on Bill. The Riverside Police, the Ohio Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI conduct a search of the Coker home.
Riverside Police obtained search warrants for the house on Christie Lane, for both Bill and Cheryl's car, for bank accounts, for cell phone records from both of them. They obtained and executed 11 different search warrants. So the police try and cover all their bases.
At the suggestion of Bill, investigators look into any lovers that Cheryl might have had. Maybe Bill's right. Maybe Cheryl was involved with someone who wanted to harm her. As investigators speak to Cheryl's loved ones, the name James keeps coming up. They say that James was involved with Cheryl in the months leading to her disappearance.
Cheryl told me about James. Cheryl told me that he was a truck driver and that he had just gone through a divorce.
And so then they sort of dated.
There was a lot of interest in James because of the intimate nature of his relationship with Cheryl. People were wondering, could he be linked to her disappearance?
But right away, it sounds like James ended up being more of a friend than a lover to Cheryl. In fact, from everything James says and what police can glean from interviewing Cheryl's friends, over the last few months, Cheryl was more consumed with Bill and his developing relationship with his co-worker because he was deviating from the rules that they'd set up for their open marriage. And because of this, the police want to interview Bill's girlfriend, Erin.
Erin agrees to come in for questioning, and she confirms what others have said, which is that Bill and Cheryl had an open marriage. In fact, she told investigators that spring, Cheryl had actually told her on the phone that it was okay for Erin to date Bill.
At that time, Bill's girlfriend told us that Cheryl had sent some odd text messages to her. They were about Cheryl no longer being around, and would she take care of Bill if she were basically no longer on this earth.
And that text message was supposedly written August 28th, which was 3 weeks before she filed for divorce.
I personally don't see Cheryl sending that if something was ever to happen to her. I don't think that she would ever want Erin to still love Bill. I don't think that she even wanted their relationship to last.
Something isn't adding up. So detectives direct their focus on the one consistent thread throughout this investigation. Cheryl was about to move on from Bill.
After Bill got served the divorce papers, those last couple of weeks before she went missing, she would post on Facebook that she was looking for an apartment with her youngest daughter because, she still had a couple years of high school left.
According to Cheryl's close friends, Cheryl knew she couldn't afford the house on her own, so she decided she would be the one to move out.
The week when Bill was on vacation with their daughter, the lawyer said that she can move out. So she was almost ready to do that. And then he comes home, and the next day, unfortunately, she goes missing.
Then 2 weeks after Cheryl's disappearance, police come across some really compelling new footage.
The same day that Cheryl went missing, Mr. Coker is actually seen on video from the Kroger's grocery store. He is dressed in all black. When he's exiting the store, one of the cameras shows an injury on his arm that stood out to us.
Cheryl Coker has been missing for 10 days. And while Bill and Cheryl's open marriage leads police to look at other potential suspects, more and more, the spotlight is back on Bill. Bill is in the crosshairs of investigators after new surveillance footage is discovered from the day Cheryl went missing.
We obtained some video from the Kroger's grocery store. Mr. Coker is actually seen on video. He's in the store for approximately 3 minutes, and as he is exiting, the camera shows an injury on his arm that stood out to us.
What investigators want to know is, was this wound sustained on the day the video was recorded? The day Cheryl went missing? And if so, detectives want to know how Bill sustained the injury.
I asked Bill Coker questions about the injury on his arm. He had an explanation for it, so to corroborate what he said, I asked Bill to take a polygraph test.
Bill refused to do so, which is his right.
While he's not the only person who is not willing to take a polygraph test, if you're going to maintain your innocence in a case of this nature and you have nothing to hide, as an investigator, it is a little concerning to say the least. But Bill Coker maintained that he had nothing to do with his wife's disappearance.
It's 4 weeks into the investigation and all eyes are on Cheryl's husband. Police remain tight-lipped on the results of their search of the Coker's home and the vehicle. But detectives remind the public that this is still an active missing persons case.
It's at this point that Cheryl's friends come together, determined to find her.
I'm Vicki Cyrus. I'm a friend of Cheryl's family. Our first step was getting a couple friends together, started going door to door, asking people in the neighborhood if they had video, if you've seen anything out of the ordinary. If you do, please report it to Detective Abney. And then we started going out looking for Cheryl. There was 2 of us that started, then it became 3, then 4, and then a few others. We just went along the banks of the rivers, you know, where the big boulder rocks are, and kind of looked around those areas. We went actually in deep wooded areas, Eastwood, Huffman Dam, where railroad tracks are. We looked in dumpsters and behind buildings and abandoned places. But then we joined a group. It's like 1,300 people.
Texas EquiSearch is a professional search organization, and they've done a number of searches. So almost every weekend for about 2 months, Texas EquiSearch went out and did large searches.
I appreciate everybody spending another day looking for Cheryl.
Here in Riverside, we are a smaller police department, so we obviously are going to take any help that we can get.
The dogs are already out. They're already running. You know the routine. If we see something, let's stop. Let's identify it. If it's animal, then we move on.
And our team coverage of this new information in the Cheryl Coker case continues now.
Evidence has been found in the search for Cheryl Coker.
Today, new items of interest were uncovered in the search for Cheryl Coker.
There's been some things found that we sent to the lab and they checked into, but unfortunately, nothing that we can link to Cheryl Coker.
The large search parties continue looking for Cheryl, and the community, including the local and national news, are relentless in their efforts to see this case solved.
When you have a woman that disappears in the way that Cheryl did, it's the big crime story. And so all of a sudden, people want information every day. So we, in our coverage, just took our audience through what we knew at the time.
We are across the street from the Kroger store where someone parked Cheryl Coker's car on October 2nd.
We checked every day, and the question all of our audience wanted to know is, did Bill Coker kill Cheryl?
2 News has reached out to William Coker several times since the disappearance and has gotten no response. A sign in front of their family home, not welcoming to strangers.
I managed to get Bill on the phone. I don't know why, but he picked up and talked to me then for about 5 minutes. And I asked him flat out,
Did you have anything to do with Cheryl's death? Did you kill her?
No, I didn't. I did not.
And you have any...
I've never in my entire life hurt anyone.
Do you have any idea what happened to Cheryl?
She was behaving in some pretty risky behavior right before she disappeared. I mean, you know, and I haven't really been willing to put that out there.
Bill talked about his daughter 2 or 3 times in that phone conversation. He said how a lot of times he didn't talk a lot about what had happened because he wants to protect her.
I just try to think of what I need to do for her. You know, that keeps driving me.
This is the last time the public hears from Bill Coker, because things take an unexpected turn when Riverside Police make a public announcement.
We've got some newly discovered evidence that leads us to direct this to a homicide investigation, no longer just a missing person case.
In February 2019, 5 months after Cheryl Coker's perplexing disappearance, Riverside Police make a public announcement.
There is a piece of evidence that we obtained that made us all, unfortunately, confident that this is no longer just a missing person. This is now a homicide investigation.
Cheryl's loved ones face the sobering reality that she may never come home again.
So it's going to be hard if she's dead, of course. I keep thinking that she'll come in my front door and say, hey, Mom. You know, sometimes I don't know somebody's coming and the door opens, and I think that. I do believe that it could be homicide now. And then I worry about Michaela, about how she's going to react when the time comes, that if they do find her or something, you know.
I'm so hurt. I'm so angry. I cry a lot, actually, because she is a big part of my life. And I still need her. Her family, they need her. You know, we need her.
I was saddened to hear the word homicide, but I was also kind of relieved that thinking, okay, maybe we're going to get some closure.
When Riverside Police changed their characterization of the case to a homicide investigation, that's when they named Bill as their primary suspect in a homicide investigation.
William Coker, Cheryl's husband, is our one and only suspect at this time. There's a lot of information that we cannot discuss, but we've got some newly discovered evidence that is a key factor. This evidence supports why we believe Bill Coker is the one and only suspect.
When police named Bill the suspect, I think part of that was to put pressure on him, to focus even more attention on him, to see if they could get him to crack.
So one time in 4.5 months, we've been contacted by Mr. Coker in regards to Cheryl's whereabouts, concerning whether or not she's even alive.
His lack of involvement in this case is a gigantic red flag.
When the police said that Bill's a suspect, we were like, of course, you know, who else is it going to be? Bill's saying that it was somebody else who took Cheryl, somebody she dated because of her risky behavior. But once you have that video, somebody walking to the back of your house, if somebody was, you know, going to come in the house, I would think you would hear something. In my mind, it can't be anybody else.
It's going to be hard if it is Bill, because I feel Michaela won't have a mother or father at that time, and that's going to be very hard on a child. She's very close to her dad, as much as she was her mother. Well, he was always good to her.
Most people that are named a murder suspect in any case quickly end up here if police know where they are. But William Coker is not here, and there are people questioning whether that is the right approach.
I find it strange that they named him a suspect and haven't done anything since.
I think our main focus here is to ensure that we are dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's to make sure that when we do make that arrest, that it's going to count.
We've done a lot of work, hundreds of hours of investigating on this case. It's still an active, open investigation. Unfortunately, Mrs. Coker has not been found yet.
I've only seen one case where anyone got a conviction for murder without a body. So Riverside Police would like to find Cheryl.
I've been following this case since day one, and every step of the way, the family has told me there is justice out there. It's just a matter of time.
Even though large search parties continued looking for a body, Cheryl hasn't been found and no arrests have been made. But her loved ones are relentless in their efforts to see this case solved.
Mary Jo had told me that you wanted a sign.
Great.
Cheryl Strong, what it stands for to me is that I'm not giving up until I find her.
That's what this is about. You know, it's about Cheryl. We want to keep her alive. We don't want to forget. We want to find her.
Neighbours have taken action. Dozens pull their money with Cheryl's friends and donate for a billboard still standing there today. It's located across the street from the parking lot where Cheryl's car was found.
The billboard does have impact. People see that and they still think about the case itself and, where is Cheryl Coker?
It's hard for me to believe that they can't find her. We can't get closure on it. I just don't know what happened. It was just hard. It was just hard.
We're going to continue to work on this case until we get justice for Cheryl and for her family, and to make sure that the person who's responsible for this has their day in court.
The people in this town, her neighbors, her family and friends, they're not going to let Cheryl be forgotten.
We had a nice big vigil for her. I was just amazed at all the people that came and thought and loved Cheryl.
She just made me laugh, and I think what hit me the most is to have to speak in past tense. But they haven't found her body yet. Somebody tells you that they're dead, but you don't know.
The older I've gotten, I've been more okay with when I die. And now, I know that when it happens, I'm gonna see her, and I'm gonna hug her, and I'm gonna run to her. But I miss her horribly.
I just miss the times we had together. We loved to sit on her front porch and just talk about everything. She was fun. The other day, I went by their house, and it got to me. I can't stand going by the house and not seeing her there. Just wish she could be home. Mm-hmm.